My coffee, don't drop my coffee, don't drop my coffee. Okay, hi friends. So today's video is a little bit different. So I actually tried to shoot this video on Monday outside in my backyard and, well, I didn't press record. I didn't even press record. Wait, what? So the whole purpose of this video is to do something scary, and that thing is to paint big. Like, I mean big, like this big. So I have always been one to paint on smaller pieces of paper or in a sketchbook because it is a little bit less overwhelming than using a really large sheet of expensive paper. And it's like that for multiple reasons. One, if you paint small, I feel like there's less pressure to add as much detail. Two, you're gonna need a really large sheet of paper. And we all know that watercolor paper is not cheap, so that fear of wasting paper tends to hold a lot of us back, AKA me. It holds me back. But today I wanted to try again to paint something big and give you tips on how I did that, because the original video, I was supposed to conquer this fear with you and I didn't press record, but having done it already now, I have learned a couple things. And I took to my Instagram, I asked people what they would want to know about painting big and what I learned, and I actually got some really good suggestions and questions that I'm going to address today. So while I paint big, and I mean big, this sheet is 30 by 22 inches large. I'm going to share with you some of the things I have learned about painting on a larger piece of paper. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is kind of walk you through this painting, which I did on Monday. And when I went into kind of painting this, I did not have a reference photo. I did not have really an idea of what I wanted to do. I just kind of wung it. And I'm actually really impressed with how it turned out, because a lot of the times when I wing it, it doesn't work out, but it did. Now, there are a couple things I feel like I would change about it, which maybe I will try and do with my next one. But there are some things I really love about this piece, which I don't know if I'm going to try and recreate, but just take inspiration, because I find when I try and recreate something, it doesn't always work out. But I love this flower, the simplicity of it. I love a lot of the softness of some of these more simple ones, and then like this detailed poppy center. What I would change, I feel like having this flower kind of in the center being so light, and then this one being so dark, I feel like I wish I could have swapped that and have this one dark and this one light, just so it's like a bit more, vibrant towards the center, and then it kind of fades out. But I mean, overall, I like it. People were asking in my comment section of where did I start with the big painting, because I did go on Instagram and kind of give a little glimpse of what happened that day and how frustrated I was, but then the finished piece, and people were asking where I started. And actually, this was upside down. So when I did start, I started slightly in the middle. Usually I tend to start up in the corner, but I started with this flower here, then moved over here, and then kind of got these three main flowers down. And then I started to expand this way, and then it just didn't feel right. What I actually did was I stepped back and I took a look at it. And sometimes I feel like you really need to do that with your pieces. You need to just put it up against a wall and take a look, take a step back and just take a look at what it looks like from afar. And then you'll see kind of holes, gaps that maybe need to be filled, colors maybe that need to be a bit more punchy or used. And it just gives you a little bit of a better idea, especially when you're working so big. This is the trouble with working so big, and this is why I don't do this. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't paint big, ever. This is probably the biggest painting I've ever done, because it is very intimidating. It's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of room for error, I find. We all have that fear of wasting paper. And it can be very overwhelming. So typically when I do paint, it's very small or in a smaller sketchbook. But I wanted to challenge myself with this to kind of do this big painting. So that's what I did. And I was really happy that I did because it turned out well and it was a lot of fun. I treated it as more of a therapy session than anything because really that's what I needed that day. I needed to just throw loose florals down on paper to make myself feel better, and it did. So that's what I did, and now I'm enjoying it, and I'm about to attempt another one. So I'm going to take you kind of through my process of all of that. Oh, quickly, the other thing that I did learn was I was painting outside originally. People were asking if it was hard because of the wind or whatever. There was no wind. It was actually a beautiful day. The only thing is that my table outside is a lot lower, and I actually like to stand while I paint, especially something this big. So that's why I'm in my dining room, and I'm just using my dining room table today. So now we can get started. Okay, so before I started painting, I really kind of just sat there in my feelings for a bit, a little bit overwhelmed and not sure where to go. And I find that when I get so in my head about this kind of stuff, I need to just start putting my paint on paper and letting go of, plans and expectations. So I did that. Now, this peony that I'm currently doing does create some issues with the overall composition in the end, which, I do end up kind of fixing, but it definitely should have been planned out a little bit more. If I was doing this for a commission work or, for someone actually, I would always plan, and give myself a better chance of it turning out properly. But at this point, it just needed to get the paint on paper and experiment and have fun. I need to stop being so scared of what I'm creating and if it will turn out. And this has been a really great exercise for that. So here is where I start to kind of doubt myself and this overall composition. Like I said, the flowers were a lot smaller than the last piece I did. So I started to wonder if, I just fill up the whole space with these smaller flowers. Is that big, large peony enough of a centerpiece to really stand out? And that's when I decided to go over it with some pink. I literally sat there for like a good 20 minutes and going, what should I do? And that's when the frustration started to sink in. I realized this is not the way I wanted it to go. I started to panic and started to doubt myself, and yep, I had thoughts of just ruining the whole thing.
It's not working. And I'm frustrated. So frustrated right now.
So after that, I decided to turn the camera off, have my little tantrum, but then I thought, you know what? Maybe it's just the idea of me filming myself and worrying too much about what I was getting on camera was overwhelming to me. And I asked Matt, who happened to come upstairs to get a coffee, if he could just get some shots of me painting. And he ended up getting some great stuff. And I was able to focus on painting instead of angles of the camera. And it ended up working out much better than I thought. So enjoy the footage that he got.
Okay, so I will be honest. I was getting really upset with how this was turning out at the beginning. I was not fond of the big pink peony, which I created, and then I was ready to give up. I don't know who else feels this way. It's like intrusive thoughts where you all of a sudden kind of just imagine like taking your whole water jar and just pouring it all over your painting, or taking your brush and just going like this. I had to really grab a hold of myself so I could stop myself from destroying this. And in those moments, I just kept saying, this is paper. Just keep going and see if there's a part of it you like. You got to be able to create one part, even if that's the only thing that you like about the whole piece, and you cut it out. Cut it out. You know what I mean? Cut it out and create something with it. Or maybe there's like a section that you like about the piece. You know, cut it into a smaller piece of paper and make that the piece. I don't know, but don't destroy it. I had to tell myself in my head to not destroy it because I really was about to destroy it. And that's okay. You can have those feelings. And sometimes it does feel good to destroy it. Honestly, I have, done that to a few paintings where I'm just like, brah, and I just, go to town and rip it up and get all frustrated. Not the most productive thing you could do, but I've done it. And sometimes that feels good. And then you need to walk away and go take a nap or a walk or eat a chocolate bar. I don't know. I've secretly just shared with you all my coping mechanisms. But you could do that, or you could just keep pushing through. And I can already tell you there's things that I now like about this more than I did in those moments, because I did keep pushing and just painting something. I'm enjoying these little daisies I'm creating. Some of the bleeds are really, really fun. And again, like I said, if I need to just cut it up into little pieces, I will. Like, this doesn't have to be this big finished piece. No one's paying me to do this. This isn't a commission for someone. I don't need to freak myself out and make myself feel less than because it's not this perfect, painting that I decided to do on a whim. It's not always going to work out like that. So I'm going to continue with this, and I'm just going to fill the page. And that is my goal, is to fill the page and finish. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I think it is done. As a whole, I don't know. I don't know if the composition is balanced. Actually, looking at it, I feel like there needs to be a couple more leaves here or something just to combat that white space, just really soft leaves. But I mean, it was really this flower that made me upset, that bright pink one. I think maybe I saved it. I don't think it's the best. But, when you step back, sometimes that's all you need to do. And there are pieces I really love about this painting. There's just some flowers and some bleeds. But you know what? It's not that bad. And I'm glad that I did not ruin it.
Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments what you thought. If this kind of style of video is what you're looking for, you like the change up a bit, or if you have any more questions about this topic, I would love to know. Or if you have experienced this yourself and tried to paint big, did it work? Did it not? Let me know. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye guys.